Hello everyone, today we're going to learn how to create a prototype or how to prototype your project here in Figma. If you are a product manager or if you are creating a design for an app or a website here in Figma, prototyping this project is very essential to display, to present to your team or the person that you want. This gives a lot of credibility for your project and give all of the insights you and the people need to see in your app. Because the main focus here prototyping your project is to make very clear to the person, to the customer, how it's going to be the workflow of your app from the homepage until the login, register, and usability of your product. So let's jump right into it.
Are you a product manager and want to achieve the best of it? Check out our Product Manager Bootcamp. Click the description below.
As you guys can see in here, I have this project that I created a long time ago about an app, an example of an app that you actually can open the app, register, and buy any products from Coca-Cola that you want. Okay, it's a simple app. In this case, I just created the login page, a page using overlays in which the person can click here on the button, on the help button, and see those overlays. A payment button if the person clicks to sign up. If the user don't have an account yet and the person clicks in sign up, it's going to direct the person for a payment page. And once the person is logged in, the person will see this page with the map, an option to choose the location that the person wants to receive the product. Okay, I didn't create the pages with the e-commerce itself, with the products, because it's a lot of work. But the things that I want to show you guys here for prototyping our project, we're going to use all of those functionalities using just this prototype, this app that we are just seeing right now. So first of all, here I have my project. I can present this project for customers, for the person that I want to sell, for the company that I want to sell my app. I can't really show how is my workflow, how is the flow of my app. And that's where prototyping comes in. Okay, here in Figma you have this tab, prototype, right, beside design. Okay, in this case you can choose a basic settings, right, if you want to prototype using an iPhone or an Apple Watch or a MacBook, for example. In this case I want to prototype for an app, a mobile app, right? So let's choose the default in here, iPhone 14 Pro. Okay, since it's a mobile app that I'm creating in here. You can choose the background for the presentation as well. Always keep in mind that once we run this prototype, you actually have a presentation all done for itself, and you can share the link with whoever you want to share. And in here, you have those settings: space black, deep purple, silver, gold, and the color that you want to display in the back. But if I run, for example, my prototype in here to present, I won't have any functionality. We're going to start in the page that we want to start, but if you click in log in, it's not going to direct us to the map, or if we click in sign up, it's not going to direct us to the payment page. We have to set up all of those paths here in Figma, and it's pretty simple. If you click here in prototype, as you guys can see, if I hover in my page, we can see this little circle with a plus sign, and this and you can see this in every element, every layer that you have in your project, and you can actually drag and drop this line to the page that you want, to the component that you want, and it's going to mean that we are directing the person to this action. What action? We can actually set up in here. Interaction trigger. What is my trigger? So if I click this button, if I hover this button, if I keep pressing this button, for example, mouse enter, mouse leave, touch down, touch up, you have all of the options to display how it's actually going to work, the workflow, the flow from your app. In this case, this button, I don't want to direct the person to nothing with the email field, okay? But let's start with the things that I just told you, how my app is going to work. If the person clicks this help button, it's going to direct the person to this help example. But I don't want to direct the person on tap to this page. I want to open those small rectangles, right, as overlays. Overlays are pretty important because overlays, not just directing the person to this page and then this page, creating overlays and implementing them here on Figma gives a lot of credibility to your project and makes it even more real and much more in touch with the final product that you are going to have. So if the person, for example, clicks on this button, I want to direct the person to this rectangle right here, okay? And the action I want to set is on tap if the person clicks. In this, I don't want to navigate or be directed to this page, okay? I want to open and overlay. As you guys can see, we have this option in here as well. Open, swap, and close overlay. Let's open this overlay. As you guys can see, we can set up a lot of different things in here. So overlay, have the name, position, center, top left, top center, top right. In this case, I want it to be centered. Close when clicking outside. We can use this. And the background, I want a black with 35% around this as a background, just to give a little bit of contrast between my card that is going to appear as overlay and the background. And the animation, this is pretty important as well. I don't want the animation to be instant, so I click, it just pop up in the face of the user. I want to create a different, a personalized experience. So let's create an animation in here. Let's move our component in. In Figma, it's pretty good because you can actually preview how it's going to work, how this animation is going to look like, as you guys can see here. But I don't want the card to come from the right to the center. I want the card to come from the bottom to the center. So let's create, let's choose this last arrow in here, which is from the bottom to the top, okay? Let's keep for 300 milliseconds, the animation, it's a good animation. And now we are all set. So let's preview how this animation is working for now, okay? If you click our main page in here, our frame, right, the login frame, we can actually start a flow point in here. Let's click the plus sign, and we have a new flow 1, and we can preview how this flow is working. If you click in here, we can start presenting this flow, and the app opens in here with the iPhone mockup. And if you click here in the help button, we are going to see that we are receiving this overlay just like we prototyped here in Figma. But now I want to link the other overlays, the other pages. If the person clicks next, for example, if the person clicks outside, you guys can see that it closes automatically, right? But now let's link the other things. This page in here I just created as an example. So if anyone access this Figma project, the person will understand, okay, those cards are meant to open as an overlay. Okay, if I just had those cards in here, it's going to be a little bit confusing if you are working with other designers. So I skip a page displaying how those cards are going to look like in the middle of the page. If you're going to use an overlay, a color as background, for example, and these kinds of things. So okay, the person clicks on the help button, we open this overlay. After this overlay, if the person clicks the button next, which is a component, the person will be directed to the next overlay, which is by. And on tap, we don't want to navigate to this next overlay. We want to swap overlays, okay? Change the first overlay for the second one. But in this case, I won't use an animation because we just had an animation for the first card. It's going to be a little bit weird if we have an animation with the second card going and entering the screen. So let's choose just instant in here instead of moving in. And the same thing goes for this buy button as well. We are going to link this component to the last card that we have in here. On tap, we just swap overlays instantly, and once the person is done with those 3 overlays that we have in our project, the person will click on done. Let's create this interaction in here. Since we don't want to direct the person to any other page, we just want to close the overlay. We don't have to drag this to any place, but we can actually create this interaction in here. Let's click the plus sign, and on tap, the action that I want is to close this overlay. And now it's finishing our overlay in here. This opens the overlay and this closes the overlay. If we take a look again here in our preview, we click the help button, we get our overlay, the first card, we click next, we have the second card, we click next, we have the last card, drink, wait a few minutes and refresh yourself, done, and we close our overlay and we are back to the login page again, right? Now let's set up our login and sign up just to direct the person to the map or to register a card. Okay, now let's link our login button. Let's drag this arrow and drop into our map. So if the person logs in, we are going to direct the person directly to this map in here to choose the location the person wants to receive the product. Okay, so navigate to, and in this case I will give a move in animation as well from right to the left to just give a little bit of movement to our prototype. And always keep this in mind. Give movement to your prototype. This is going to be much more efficient to look like the final product, just like I told you guys. Now we are linked to the map, and if the person sign up, click on sign up, it's going to be directed to the payment page. The same thing from right to left, 200 milliseconds. That's actually all of the prototype we need for now. If you click in here to preview, we can actually click log in, and we're going to be directed to the map. And if I restart in here my flow and I click on sign up, we're going to be directed to the payment area, okay, to the payment page. Always keep in mind, this project actually is pretty small, right? But if you have all of the pages you are going to have in your app, try to link every single button that you can link in here. So if you be directed to this page, you can have a X icon in here or an arrow to direct the person to the last page the person was. Try to link all of the pages in a way that if the person gets to this page, the person can can go to the home page or to the previous page the person was. This is going to create all of the flow and all of the functionality your app is going to have. Going a little bit deeper in this prototyping, we can actually create the hovers for our buttons as well, or the states, pressed state, hover state, all of those things. So if the person hovers the mouse or presses this button, it's going to turn black, it's going to turn white, for example. And we can create this as well. And the best way to create this is using components, in order for you to just create one button and then you can actually reproduce this button in all of your project. In this case, you guys can see we have a larger button, a bigger button, and a smaller one. In this case, for logging in, we have a smaller one, and for signing up, we have a bigger one. In the card, we have a small button as well. So in this case, we can create this button only one time and reuse this in all of our project, just clicking once, right? For this, I recommend you guys to create another page here in Figma to keep everything organized. In this case, I have this page buttons that I created in the past, and in here I have all of the states I want to have here in my app. In order to create this, you can just create this button and set a component from this tab in here. Once it's a component, you can duplicate this button. As you guys can see, we have a lot of different variants inside of this component, right? And every variant is a different state of button. So in here I have the small button and the pressed small button. Once I duplicate, I can change whatever I want to change in this style of this state. I have the bigger button in here as well, big button, pressed big button, next and done button as well. So once I have this, I can actually copy from my component and paste here in my project. So in here, as you guys can see, I have copied and pasted the component. The button from the component I created is a little purple, right? And in here we have the instance, right? Local instance that is matching the small button that we have in our component. And here, if I click on prototype, we can actually create another action to change the state from our button. I can click the plus sign and choose the action. So for example, while hovering, I want to change to the pressed small button in here. I can make it animated as well, as easy in and easy out, for example, 300 milliseconds. As you guys can see, it's going to be this animation, right? Just like dissolving the previous state into the hover state, for example. And that's it. You can set as well pressed. If I keep pressing this button, I want to change to this color. In this case, I chose hovering here to be more clear, and I can show you guys how it's actually working. On a mobile app, we're not going to have a hover state, but just to demonstrate for you guys, I chose the hover state. And as you guys can see, if we hover our mouse into our button, we can see that it's actually changing to the hover state we just created in there. This gives another look to our prototype. If your client actually puts the mouse and see this hover, this pressed state, is going to get the client much more closer to the final project. Okay, keep in mind that as much as you can put your client much more closer to the final project is going to be a successful prototype. And you guys can apply this to all of the buttons. In this case, once I applied this prototype to this button, I can actually copy and paste in every single other cases that I'm going to use this button. And the button is going to be already prototyped with this change. Even better, if you don't want to create this in here, you can actually make this in the buttons page as well, in your component itself. So you can actually click in here and create this interaction that I just created there in my project and change while hovering to this state in here. When you copy this component and use as different variables in your project, it's going to be set already with the same interaction that you created in there, and it's going to save a lot of time for you. Okay guys, now as you guys can see, we have a small spider web in here and all of the connections from the pages. If you click outside and don't select any of your layers, you're going to see this web with all of the connections you made for your prototype. You should do this when you finish your project. Just like I told you guys, the more complete and the more connected your prototype is, the more realistic and the more your customer will be closer to the final project, to the app implemented itself with the back end and in those cases. So if I'm on this page, how can I go back to the previous page I was? If I'm on this page, how can I go directly to the home page? Again, even though I am deeper in my app, make sure to cover all of those cases. This button, how I'm going to change the state, what is going to be my hover button, what is going to be my pressed button, and those kinds of things. And now if I present again my flow in here, we're going to open the mockup for the iPhone or the device you chose in here to be your default device for your prototype, and we can actually click in here, opening presentation view. This is going to help you a lot with presenting this project to your team, to your customer, to whoever you want to present, right? Using this presentation, you can actually copy a link, a direct link, and send to whoever you want to open this presentation. As you guys can see, we have our prototype in here, and in here we can actually click in everything we want. If I click the help button, we're going to receive the overlay. I can click next, next, done, okay, close my overlay. What happens if I log in? If I hover this login button, you guys can see that we are receiving the hover state. If I click login, oh, okay, I'm going to be redirected to the map page. That's why it's pretty important to keep in every page a way to get back to the previous page, to the home page. In here, I didn't set up anything to go back. In this case, I'm going to have to restart my prototype to take a look in the rest. If I click on sign up as well, I can receive this payment page. After this payment page, I can be redirected to the map. After the map, I can be redirected to the specific information of the address. After the specific information, I can direct the person to the e-commerce structure itself. After the e-commerce, a page for a product, a page to buying this product, and a page of success. And you can prototype all of this with those functionalities I just showed you guys, using overlays, navigating to other pages, closing overlays, swapping overlays, change the state of a button to the hover state, to the pressed state. And just using those functionalities, you are going to have a full prototype in your hands. So that's it, guys, for the video today. It's pretty simple, a basic video of prototyping here in Figma. You can actually create a lot of different things, a lot of different schemas in here. The goal of prototyping your project is to get the customer much closer to the final product that you are expecting or the client is expecting, in order for you to receive good or bad feedback before you start implementing the back end, for example, in the front end, in the platform, or implementing all of the code depending on what you are working on, and receive all of those feedbacks after the hard work itself. Okay, in here, in the design, it's a hard work, but it's not all the way done. If you can receive those feedbacks in the middle or in the start of your project, it's always good, because you're going to prepare yourself and avoid a lot of frustration on more difficult phases of your work. Keep watching here in Doors Coding School. We are going to have much more videos about Figma, prototyping, creating designs, and working with Figma and no-code applications. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Are you a product manager and want to achieve the best of it? Check out our Product Manager Bootcamp. Click in the description below.